In this video, we will talk about the Terraform provider and the resources. Here, this is the official page of Terraform provider, or we can Terraform provider, and over there you are able to see we have a three different type of tiers available. I will tell you, this is sometime these type of questions asked inside the interview. Also, we have to face these type of questions over the Terraform exams. If you want to proceed for the certification exam, there may be some chances that over there this type of questions will ask. So if anyone can ask you about the Terraform tiers or the Terraform provider, how many type of providers do we have available, or how many type of tiers we have available? So the answer is we have a three different type of tiers and providers available. The first one is the official one. Let's select the official one only. This official providers are managed and created by the Terraform. And here you can see total number of counters 35. So let's pick one by one, AWS, Azure, and Google. So these are the main cloud provider over the market. And if we're talking about the Terraform, Terraform not only used for the Google Cloud or the Azure or AWS cloud, Terraform we can use to manage or create the uh, infra over the multiple platforms. So previously, we try to create our resources over the over the Google Cloud, and over there we use the provider Google. Here you can see that provider, then Google, and after that we define the resources, which type of resources we have to create over the Google Cloud. Now we will look about the AWS provider and Azure provider as well. Click over the AWS provider over the documentation. You are able to see there are the two different type of categories defined over the example. One is required providers. Required providers are mandatory if you are going to use the community-based providers, and sometimes we have to supply the required providers parameter for the partner based providers as well. But if you are going to use the official providers, over there the chances are very less to define the resource provider, and it will work. And the reason behind that for defining the resource provider is sometime we write the code, and the time when we hit the Terraform init command, that particular time Terraform init is not able to download the appropriate provider. That particular time we are defining that this required provider is available at that particular source. Also, here we are going to define which version we have to use it. So we will talk about later about the Terraform providers and how we are going to define the appropriate version which we require. So right now in this video, we will talk about or focus only related to the providers. So if we need to create a resources over the AWS, then we have to use the AWS provider, and after that we have to use the AWS resource codes to create and manage the appropriate resource over the AWS provider. So let's first pick this AWS provider. Only this line is required to download the provider. And right now our main focus is, is related to the provider. So previously we defined the Google provider. Here we are going to define the AWS provider. And after that, let's see how to download it. For downloading the provider, we have to fire Terraform init command. And this Terraform init command will download the provider over the same current working directory. And using that particular provider, your Terraform will manage the target resources. Here you can able to see it's fetched the latest version of Google. After it fetched the latest version of AWS. So this is the current working directory where I fire the Terraform init command, and over there the hidden folder is created with .terraform. Over the Mac, if you want to see the hidden folder, you have to fire the command Shift and then dot key. And over the Linux, it will you have to fire the command ls-a option. Here the provider inside .terraform directory we have a provider directory. After that we have a registry.terraform.io. Inside registry.terraform.io all the providers will be available, or we can say Terraform will download all the providers whatever used inside the .tf file. So here we are using the two providers, HashiCorp and AWS. That's why it's going to download the AWS and sorry, HashiCorp download the AWS and Google provider. This this was the right now you can skip that particular provider. In previous codes, I use this provider. That's why it's downloaded over there. Now we are going to download or we are going to use one more provider. Right now we try to use the AWS. Now we are trying to use the Azure provider. We have to click it over the code, and after that, there is a provider. Yeah, here this is the Azure provider name. And now try to use the Azure provider name over the code as well. And if I press the Control S, and if I try to fire the command again related to if I try to fire the Terraform init again, it will also try to download the Azure provider. Here you can see it fetched the Azure RM provider. Now uh, try to see the current working directory over there. Now you are able to see Azure RM provider also downloaded over the same HashiCorp directory inside the registry.terraform.io. So we see sorry. Now we will talk about the partner related tiers and the providers. So partner related tiers are those which created and managed by the partners. Uh, let's take one example: Oracle Cloud, Alibaba Cloud. Those are the partner for Terraform, and they are maintaining their resources. Those partners are maintaining their resources over the Terraform documentation, and then provider and resources. Everything will managed by these partners. And for the community-based provider, for the community-based provider, uh, these providers are uh, created and managed by the open source community. You and me also contribute over there. Let's take one example, this one. This is the provider which I already used in the previous codes. That's why you are able to see this IFFSC123 provider is there. So to using it, what you have to do is, let's first of all delete that particular provider. Now over the documentation. Uh, Here you are able to see required underscore providers. If we're talking about the community-based provider, for the community-based provider, it's mandatory to define the required underscore providers parameter. Otherwise, it will not download this provider. So let's take one example. Let's copy the complete section and let's save it. If I will try to fire the Terraform init command, it will throw an error that source is not available or provider is not available. You can see that registry.terraform.io does not have the provider name DPSC. Okay, that's why we have to supply this section as well, required underscore provider. Required underscore provider is defining that this provider DPSC having uh, this source. So and we are defining the source location over the Terraform codes that at the time of downloading the provider, Terraform look about this registry, and from that particular registry, Terraform will download the provider. And here we remove the version section, it will automatically try to download the latest version, whatever is available. And as this is the community version, there may be some chances that you will face some issues related to the versions as well. Sometimes documentation are not updated properly. So let's save the code. And we already defined the source location in required underscore provider. That's why it will download the provider successfully. Yeah, here you can see that. And we will check it. It's available inside the registry.terraform.io. Inside the HashiCorp, all the official providers are available, which maintain and managed by the HashiCorp, and all the community-based provider will download separately. Here you can see that. Now we will to now we will try to look about the resources inside the providers. Once we define the provider, we have to define the resource section as well. Resource section is used to manage the resources on that particular provider. So let's remove the remaining provider, which we are not going to use it. So in this TF file, you are able to see I use the two different type of resources, and those resources are linked with a Google provider. So over there, after the resource section, this this resource name is common if you are going to create a multiple same type of resources. So this is the provider's resource name. So and after that we have to supply the Terraform related resource name. So let's talk about in your house you have some pet name. So that's why